Centuries ago, during the holy month of Ramadan, the people of Makkah were worshipping Allah in His sacred sanctuary. Suddenly, their homes are raided, families are forcibly dragged from their houses, their possessions are looted, and their houses occupied. And if that alone isn't a violation of the sanctity of Mecca, the same perpetrators openly engage in sexual immorality with women. This is how Ibn Fahd, an eyewitness, documented these harrowing violations against the sanctity of the holy month, the city of Mecca and its people. Now, if you heard this story without knowing who was responsible, what would you think? Would you assume the perpetrators had some justification? That perhaps they meant well but simply made some mistakes? Or would you conclude they were criminals whose actions could only be described as criminal? What if I told you that those who committed these atrocities were the Turks? Many ask, how could such acts possibly occur in the sacred sanctuary of Allah? What drove these criminals to commit such violations in the Holy Land? Was it an ignorance of the laws or principles within Islam, especially pertaining to the sanctity of Mecca? Or was it simply a part of their nature, a pattern of corruption they spread through the lands they entered and attempted to rule over? Whatever their motivations, nothing can justify these actions. Yet you'll find many people today focused almost exclusively on the Arabs, constantly criticizing them, obsessing over any fault found in their countries, even if it's only perceived as such. At the first sign of wrongdoing or controversy emerging from Arab nations, these critics rush to condemn entire populations, using isolated incidents to justify sweeping generalizations and the harshest possible judgments against Arab peoples as a whole. These critics are quick to curse and condemn them whenever they're mentioned, especially anything related to Saudi Arabia. Yet these same people have nothing but praise for non-Arabs and their countries, particularly the Turks, the so-called Ottomans. Yes, the Turks accomplished some good in the name of Islam, even though it pales in comparison to Arab contributions to the faith. The issue lies with those who excessively praise the Turks, while conveniently ignoring any wrongdoings committed by them. They even go so far to claim the Turks established a legitimate Khilafat and ruled the Muslim world, despite the fact that Mehmet II himself claimed to be the Caesar of Rome. Immediately after Mehmet conquered Constantinople, the Turks claimed they were the rightful Caesars of Rome, positioning themselves as successors to the Byzantines who had ruled before them. They adopted Roman imperial titles like Caesar and Basilius, the same titles used by Byzantine emperors, and by positioning themselves as the Byzantine Empire's heirs, they claimed universal monarchy, believing they were the legitimate rulers of the entire world. This grandiose claim was embraced by early sultans, Mehmet II, Bayezid II, Selim I, and Suleiman I. They used this supposed Roman inheritance to justify invading Western Europe. Both Mehmet and Suleiman wanted to conquer Italy, believing it belonged to them as the former heart of the Roman Empire. The Muslimīn recognized this imperial pretension, and these Romans didn't attack or conquer territories for the sake of Allah. They did it because they believed themselves to be the Caesars of Rome. They justified their actions by claiming they were simply taking what belonged to them. So don't be surprised when you hear of Selim I's assault on Makkah, one of the darkest chapters in the city's history. In the year 932, Ibrahim Pasha, the Roman governor of Egypt and a Mamluk of Suleiman I, dispatched an army of approximately 4,000 soldiers toward Yemen under Captain Salman al-Rais's command, reinforcing earlier military units. They arrived at the port of Jeddah during Ramadan and immediately began harassing Arab tribes between Jeddah and Mecca through theft and pillaging. This harassment cut off trade routes and supply lines, preventing provisions from reaching Mecca and causing prices to inflate in the city. The Makkī historian and contemporary eyewitness Jār Allāh bin Fahd documented these events. In the book نيل المنى بذيل بلوغ القرى لتكملة إتحاف الورى, he says, "This month saw successive painful incidents, and hearts were darkened. May Allah avert this from the Muslimīn." And during it, the Roman soldiers arrived at the port of Jeddah from the sea. He continues with a detailed description of the occupation. "On Sunday, the 13th of the month of Ramadan, some of the Roman soldiers arrived in Mecca by the order of the deputy of Jeddah, Ilā'ī al-Shāwūsh the Roman. This caused great distress to the Sharīf of Makkah, Abu Nūmī, and all its inhabitants especially. They committed heinous acts in Mecca, such as attacking people's homes, expelling them along with their families, seizing their belongings and destroying them, and occupying their homes in their place. The people cried out for help, but found no one to aid them except Allah, the Most High. Their suffering increased, and every resident and traveler began to curse them. Then they continued with their misdeeds, and openly engaged in immorality with women, taking goods from the market at a paltry price, and some did not give anything at all. Their commanders planted their banners in front of the Sacred Mosque's northern portico near Bab al-Salām, the Gate of Peace. They totaled 14 banners, reportedly with 50 men per banner, 700 men total. Then they began circumambulating the Kaaba, performing a Sari and Umrah, every group with their military banners. May Allah help the Muslimīn against them. A Sharīf Abu Nūmī, who governed Mecca from the Hijri years 931 to 947, was so disturbed by their presence that he withdrew to Wadi al-Jumum, fearing conflict between the Romans and his own forces. The Sharīf declared, "I will not enter Mecca as long as Captain Salman's army remains there, nor while the deputy of Jeddah, al-Shāwūsh ʿAlī the Roman, is present," and he complained from both of them. Their arrival in Mecca was truly catastrophic for its people. Ibn Fahd describes the residents' condition during what should have been a joyous time. The people prayed the Eid prayer in the Sacred Mosque, al-Kaaba, while terrified of the Romans, especially due to their harassment and violation of people's honor. None ventured to al-Malat for traditional Eid celebrations. Only some men and children went up, accompanied by many Romans, so there was no joy or entertainment for the common people. A person of sound mind cannot justify such criminal behavior, nor can they think well of what the Romans did in the sacred city of Allah, except for those whose hearts have been poisoned with a blind love for Turks and a hatred for Arabs. These individuals see only good in Turkish actions while remaining blind to their crimes. This is Shurubiyya at its most blatant.